Welcome, everybody, to the second live edition of the Spillin It podcast. I think this is episode 21 or 22. So. 21. Something like that. But second time live. If you were here last week, thanks for coming back. If you're new, this is the Spillin It Pod. You know, we're going to talk ball, pop culture, all sorts of things in between. Somebody pointed out to me the other day at work that our logo is balls, and so she assumed we only talked sports, and I was like, that's not true. That's just what the vibes were.
Just demonstrable.
So if you like sports, you're here for it. If you like other stuff, I got good news for you. We got some other stuff coming this week. But Jesse, we got a bit to chew on this week. But before we get into our content, how's it going, man? How we doing? How is Jesse doing?
Pretty good, you know. Work's going well, and weather's getting nice down here. We finally got some rain. We've been in a bit of a drought, so definitely needed the rain recently, but yeah, things are going well. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, I love being, anytime it rains, it's like, boy, we sure could use this rain, even if it's like the 9th day in a row because we live in Florida. Awesome. I love to hear that, Jesse. Well, without any further ado, we can go ahead and get rocking and rolling here. And remember to our returning viewers, but for those of you that are new here, we are watching the chat. You know, we've got our outline and our topics we're going to hit, but feel free to weigh in if you have something we're talking about, you want a little bit more discussion on, or just something that you'd like us to touch on. Feel free to interact with us in the chat. We'll try to keep an eye on it. You know, it's going to be flying off the shelves here, so we'll pick out what we can catch. But Jesse, I believe we're going to do a podcast staple here and do a little buy or sell to start. Why don't you set that up for us?
Yeah, this is based off of the old Around the Horn concept, and rest in peace to Around the Horn, one of the best sporting and debate shows that was out there early to mid 2000s. And essentially the premise here is, if you are buying something, it means you're buying into it, you are here for it, you think this is a good thing, or you think it's going to continue in this direction. If you're selling, you're like, nah, I'm not really feeling this, the vibes are off at Applebee's and it's not really my cup of tea on this. So we got several different topics that we're going to be covering throughout this one. And Ben, the first one is the news/rumor that the NCAA basketball tournaments are going to expand to 76 teams. I want to know, are you buying or selling the expansion for March Madness?
It's hard for me to say sell because I never would have owned any stock in this concept to begin with. But I'm selling hard. Look, we do this whole thing where we're like, we need to add more teams. And it's always with the college football playoff, with the NCAA tournament. It's not truly to add more teams. It's to add more Power 4 schools into the tournament. Teams like Auburn is the only one that comes to mind right now for me.
That feels a little personal, then.
Schools like Auburn that did not make the cut for the major tournament, played in the NIT, which no one cares about, and then cry and whine and then feel like they need more inclusion. It's not teams like Miami of Ohio, who barely made the NCAA tournament despite only one loss in conference tournament play. I think that 68, I was hesitant with the first 4. I think it's compelling enough that I feel like it's gone well. I'm fine with the 68. Anything more than that, and it's just, to me, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, we have a product that's so compelling. I don't really feel the need to touch it and mess with it any further. The NIL era has kind of changed the tournament a little bit. We didn't really get a lot of big upsets this year. We talked about this last week. A lot of great games, but not as many big upsets. And I feel like that would be worth addressing more so than adding more teams. I don't really feel that there's value there. So, and I'm not interested in it. I think that 68 is fine, and I think the further you expand things, the worse the quality of the product gets. So I'm out.
All right. This is going to be rare for us. We typically agree on those things like this, but I'm actually
buying it. Don't tell me you're pro-expansion.
I am pro-expansion, and it has nothing to do with the quality of product.
We had a good run.
And it has everything to do with the fact that it's selfish, really. I just want more basketball. right? I just want to sit there and
They
watch
play more basketball. They just don't call it the NCAA tournament.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to watch that. I don't care, right? If you put it into something I care about, I'm going to actually do it, right? That's all I'm saying. I'm buying it. I think more basketball means more fun, more possibilities, right? And the fact of the matter is, if you make it out of a play-in tournament and you are able to get into the actual tournament with a running start, it leads to more chaos, it leads to more possibilities. And to me, that's kind of the spirit of the whole tournament. I'm here for more chaos. Now, at some point it does need to be cut, right? And otherwise you get that Onion article where they expand it to something crazy. It was like 800-something teams or whatever it was. But I'm here for it. I am here for more basketball, more combinations, and more chaos.
The first the first team out was Oklahoma, 19-15. Auburn, who was I think 17-16, was the second team out. Then San Diego State, who had a more compelling case, honestly, to me, than Oklahoma or Auburn. And then Indiana, which I feel like we don't have to – I'm not going to beat you down here with the state of Indiana basketball.
It's disgraceful.
So, if we reached – if you could promise me that the expanded teams were mid-major schools that were being overlooked, then maybe I could – I couldn't support it, but I could allow it. But, man, 17 and 16 teams talking about postseason play. Like, what are we doing here? You know? Why even play the regular season at that point?
I'm just saying. I would have a good time with it. All right, our second one is going to be the NBA minimum game threshold for awards. And if you're unfamiliar with the rule, in order to be eligible for any postseason award, that's going to be the obvious ones, the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, but it also goes into the All-NBA teams as well. You got to play 65 games in the regular season in order to be eligible, and that is a hard stop on that rule. You have to play 65 games, or you're just not there.
I think they actually technically allow you 2 games if you play at least like 20 minutes in them.
That's fair.
I know, there's some weird nuance I saw with Wembanyama.
For this one, I am selling this threshold because I do 100% believe there needs to be nuance within this. And when you pull that away, it changes narratives, right? And especially because NBA contracts have so many incentives within it that guys can be eligible for Supermax contracts if they reach an All-NBA team. It's hard to do. It's very, very hard to do because in order to make an All-NBA team, you have to be one of the 15 best guys in the league, right? Give or take, depending on positioning. But within that, I think it's got to go, right? Obviously, I don't want Joel Embiid playing 37 games and being eligible for MVP, right? But there should not be a specific cutoff for that. And I think we're having this conversation over and over. We had it with Halliburton last year, and it's very possible that him pushing through and trying to stay eligible for all NBA teams potentially caused his injury down the road, right? He played a lot more games than he'd ever been used to playing, and it's a wear and tear injury is what it comes down to. So we're seeing it with Cade Cunningham, who's had an MVP-like season. We're seeing the Defensive Player of the Year award essentially potentially just being stolen away from Victor Wembanyama. I mean, there's no player has been as good defensively as him. It's got to go. I think there has to be nuance, and that needs to be put into the hands of the voters to make that determination.
We also have Luka going overseas to try to rush back from his injury. This is going to be a good episode, I could tell, because I think I disagree with you a little bit, but I also agree with you. I think that so the reason we have the threshold is in part to encourage players not just skipping games.
Right.
Which I do think is an issue and has been an issue. The load, you'll hear the phrase load management, which I think has kind of become pejorative and not entirely accurate, because often I just don't think it's an accurate term for this. I think that I agree with you, though, that there should be nuance. I think a rule of some kind, or at least guidelines, maybe less than a formal rule to voters of, because what I think the nuance is that's getting lost is people like Cade Cunningham or Luka or even Wembanyama, but primarily like Cade Cunningham and Luka, who are missing long stretches due to real injuries.
Correct.
And then being punished for it. Like, the nuance needs to be more like, if you have real documented, like, you would have played if you were healthy, but you truly, like, you broke your hand or you had a hamstring pull, and there's literally no reason for Cade Cunningham not to be playing outside of that he's hurt, right? So it's very clear and obvious that he's injured. Something like that, and maybe that's not a formal rule, and maybe it's just more guidance with the voters. This all also kind of happened because Joel Embiid, had that season where he barely played, or not barely played, but missed a lot of time and got postseason accolades. But it's like, also, I don't know, man, you're punishing players for the voters, because like you said, guys are rushing back from injuries because MVP is only one person, and that does impact their contract. But those all NBA teams often are baked into the calculus of how max contract players or max contracts work. Or if you get named to one of those teams, or you win a postseason accolade like Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, yada yada, that can dramatically impact the amount of money you make on a max contract. And I think that we're seeing guys rush back from injuries or do things that they otherwise wouldn't and force themselves to play, because that's important to them. You've now tied their participation to their compensation. And while that makes sense, when you're actually hurt, that causes a problem. If you've got guys that are just like skipping, and people are still doing it, right? The Pelicans played a game the other day where they sat all 5 of their starters basically due to a mix of injury and just like tanking. And it's important to kind of address that, but I don't know. Yeah. It's a new one. I don't have an easy answer, but I buy the concept. I think I sell the enforcement.
Yeah, and I can meet you there. I can definitely meet you there. I think that's a perfectly reasonable way to describe it. And I think I'm right there with you. But yeah,
65 is also so arbitrary.
It is a very arbitrary number, and to me, like, it's not going to affect any of the tanking things, so that's what you're worried about either. The Indiana Pacers are throwing out the Carmel High School freshman team tonight against the Nets, right?
That's generous.
Right, and it's not going to affect how that works. And we can talk about the lottery and all that stuff once they figure out exactly what they're doing. I'm sure we'll cover it here. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think we found common ground there. This next one.
Yeah, and real quick, Jesse, my last point on that. I think realistically, it's not a. I think it's a length of season issue.
I think
82. I know it's always been 82 games, but especially given like where bodies and athletes are today, and the sheer punishment that their bodies go through, all the travel and the intensity of the game, I think a better solution is to pull games out, spread games more across. Back-to-backs are brutal on these athletes, and I think that is more of an issue than some of these other factors that we're.
Well, especially in a sport like basketball, where we do pay attention to the counting stats overall, and that would change the way that we look at things. But when we're talking about guys and we're talking about season stats, very rarely are we sitting there being like, oh, well, they scored 4,000 total points. We're talking about points per game, right? And I think it would take some adjustment overall, and we would have to adjust how our record books look when it comes to that kind of switch. But to me, if it means you're going to have a better product and you're going to have more guys on the court at a time, I think it's worth it, right? You still have the same timeline of the season, right? Late October to, middle of April for the regular season, but spread it out, right? Have it be a 65-game season. If that's such an important number to you, right? Have it be that, but spread it out and give these guys more time to recover, frankly.
Agreed.
All right, our next one. So interestingly, little peel behind the curtain here. We write these scripts and stuff in our outlines days in advance. And hilariously enough, this one, the Red Sox have actually been playing pretty well over the last few days and have been starting to win a few games. But at the time of writing this, they have the worst record in the league. Are you buying or selling the Red Sox being the worst team in the league this year?
Even if they hadn't won their last 2 games to climb from 2-8 to 4-8, absolutely not. Not in a world where the Chicago White Sox exist.
It's just a bad year for Sox, man.
The Reds, it is a bad year for Sox. Go barefoot this summer. I think that the Red Sox just have too much talent to be the worst team. Now, can they disappoint? Absolutely. That's very, very probable. It seems like maybe. But baseball is also weird where you can start really slow or really hot, and then you could absolutely turn it around for good, better or for worse. They've got too many good players. I don't think their ceiling is quite as high as people were thinking before the season. And if I'm correct in my memory, I definitely didn't really believe in them in our season preview. But they're not the worst team in baseball. I mean, they're 4-8, but they've only been outscored by 11 runs, which is not great. But even like the Blue Jays, who have one more win than them, have been outscored by 22. The White Sox, who have the same record, are minus 29. They're going to turn it around, I think. The Giants are a little bit on fraud watch. They're minus 16. But and 3 of 7 at home, which is preposterous. But I don't really buy the Red Sox being that bad all season long.
I don't either. I did see this hilarious picture though, and so there's an advertisement in the back at Fenway, and it says kids eat free when the Red Sox win for some local restaurant.
They're starving the children.
It's the children begging for food with empty plates in front of them.
I love when stuff happens like that. Like the Rockies have a taco promotion where if they score a certain number of runs, there's like a free taco at Taco Bell, and games where they're bad, or stretches where they're bad, which is obviously ancient history, but people make funny jokes about that.
It's so good. All right, number 4 on here.
Not the worst.
We're gonna have the Phillies. Okay, so let's preface. There's an article that came out on ESPN about teams that are the most watchable, and they have a watchability index that this writer came up with, and it's a really interesting article. But for this one, he had the Philadelphia Phillies as the number 1 team to watch, so the most watchable team in baseball being the Phillies. Are you buying or selling the fact that the Phillies are the number 1 watchable team in the league?
Though I quibble with some of these scoring categories. For example, he gave the Phillies +1 for best set of uniforms in baseball. Not accurate. I actually do buy the Phillies as the most watchable team in baseball. And here's why. The scoring system was kind of arbitrary. The writer went with 3 categories: star power, young talent, and baseball stuff. And then bonus points, which were for like dumb stuff. Like I said, he gave the Phillies +1 for best set of uniforms, +1 for ballpark atmosphere, plus 0.5 for Trey Turner's speed, which sure, and then plus 0.5 for the Philly fanatic, which makes more sense to me. Picking one player that's fast in a league with faster players is crazy. But I do think the Phillies are the most watchable team in baseball because they do have a lot of star power, and they also have the ability to completely blow up, positive and negative, any night. The Phillies could beat the crap out of a team, and then they could just get their asses tanned and hided the next night. And I think that volatility makes them watchable because you truly, like the Dodgers have a lot of star power, but you kind of expect the Dodgers to win. Right? The Phillies have not historically been that team that you could just pencil in for 100 wins. Even when they're good, they're still volatile, and the lows are low enough that I buy them because it's truly you can't roll into a series even against a bad team and just predict what the Phillies will do, and I think that makes them eminently watchable. Similar concept applies to the Mets and the Braves, honestly. The whole NL East.
I'm selling this one, honestly. It's the Dodgers whether we like it or not, and it has very little to do with how deeply bought their team is. They got Shohei Ohtani. And he's the greatest show right now, right? He's the man, right? And because we're seeing him do things that we've never seen, to me, it's must watch, right? Every time that he is out there, you gotta stop what you're doing and see what he's up to, because we might not ever see someone like him again, or at least to the level that he's doing it at. I don't like it. I don't want to agree with myself here, but it's gonna kind of have to be what it is. I'm not a huge fan of saying it, but I think it has to be the Dodgers.
And they were number 2 on this watchability index, just behind the Phillies. For those at home, the Mets were 3rd, half a point behind the Dodgers, and the Dodgers were a full 3 points behind the Phillies. But the Mets got that half point for wondering what will go wrong this year. So obviously the scoring is arbitrary, but and that's a fair argument to make. I just disagree because the predictability is a little less exciting to me. But your case is valid. I mean, obviously Ohtani is worth his weight in gold, and feels like he should be more load bearing than the 2 points that they're getting. One for him being a star player, and one for just him being him. They're good. I mean, you could watch worse baseball, but.
Right, and our last one is coming up with the Masters here. Rory McIlroy going back-to-back in the Masters. Are you buying or selling Rory being a back-to-back champion?
No, because nobody goes back-to-back at the Masters.
It's the exact same thing I said, too. It's so hard to
And
do.
it's not even about Rory. He's tied for first. He had a great day today. He's tied with Sam Burns at 5 under. It's just not going to happen. And especially Rory is not the person that I believe is going to overcome that difficulty. Surely the day 2 or 3 meltdown is coming. I'm sorry, Rory. It's just more likely than not. And it's honestly, it's not even a disbelief in him. It's just truly what I said. Nobody does it back to back.
It feels next to impossible to do because it's just such an incredible course, right? And it's the pinnacle of the sport. I think it is next to impossible to do. It'd be cool, but yeah,
God, it would be so sick.
It would be really cool, especially after how much he struggled to get that one. The first one, he just rattles off 4 in a row.
And God, I do love Rory, but Rory having the graphic of for career Grand Slam instead of just for win, under his name, impossibly dummy when they did that. Elite choice to include that in the graphic, but yeah, I'm sorry, Rory, you're just not going to do it. I hope you do well, but it's just not going to happen for you, buddy, and it's not your fault.
Yeah. All right, next segment here, we're going to do some wrapping up of the March Madness tournaments, and Ben, do you want to go ahead and crown our 2 winners for the Spillin It Pod bracket challenges?
Yes, I will. Sorry, I was looking to see. I hadn't seen if Morikawa played today. He did. He was +2. Sorry, King. All right. We're going to start with our men's bracket, and we ended up with 9 entries, which we should have said last week, but didn't. So thank you to the 7 of you that joined Jesse and I in here. Jesse did come in last, and I did come in third, just for context and accountability.
I don't appreciate how you started that, but we'll talk about that in
I think you're going to be fine because there's a whole other bracket, and you did a little bit better in that one, and I did not. I did a little bit worse. So at least, we each represented in some form or fashion on one half. This one ended up not particularly close because our champion was pretty neck and neck with our runner-up, and then had the correct champion, the only member of our 9 bracket pool to correctly predict Michigan as the national champion. So shout out to my mother, Susan, with the 1,270 points, which she finished 95th percentile. Not only did she win this bracket challenge, but she had a very good bracket.
She did.
And I did speak to my mom earlier today, and she pointed out that she did win. And she's like, I think I enjoyed my shout out last week, but hopefully you point out that I did win the bracket challenge.
Well, of course,
so shout
she's
out
the
to
people's
my mom.
champion. We have to mention her on air, right?
She did win it all. Second place is this mysterious ESPN fan 820-49910. I don't have no idea who that is. Please come forward. I can't offer a cash reward, but I do want to know who you are. And then I came in third. As I mentioned, that's our top 3. In the women's challenge, we had 8 entries, so just one shy of our men, so still a good turnout. Jesse did win this challenge. As alluded to, he did a lot better in this one. He came in first. I came in 5th out of 8. So kind of a little bit of a flip-flop. Obviously, Jesse's first is better than my third in the men's bracket. Jesse won with 1,390 points, which was 91st percentile. He correctly picked UCLA, but we did have one other entrant pick UCLA. That's our loyal watcher, listener extraordinaire, Becca, who knows absolutely nothing about college basketball and very little about sports. But she told me she wanted to. She listens every week, and wanted to participate in the bracket challenge. So shout out to Becca she's from California. So she said when I told her that she correctly picked the champion, she responded, "These colors don't run," which I thought was very funny. So, but she did come in fourth. Our second place finisher is ESPN fan 820-49910. I'm not really sure who that is. I don't see any information about them. Whoever picked Notre Dame as their champion, which I can get behind. Congrats. And then my stepdad Brian, I believe this is, with the Iowa bracket, the name Iowa. He picked Texas to win it all. He came in third. So shout out to everybody for participating. Pretty good turnout. Honestly, almost 100% of podcast listeners probably participated in one of the other brackets. So really appreciate that. It was really fun. Maybe we'll do like a picks, like we did our picks pool this year in the NFL. Maybe we'll do like a group picks pool. That's probably the next thing to come up. But thanks to everybody for participating, and we had a great time. Hopefully you did too. And it turns out some of you do know more ball than us. So be on standby for one of our hooligans to come force you at mic point onto the podcast.
That should be the prize. You get to call in. Bring your mom on.
You get a celeb shot. You get a 5-minute segment. You pick it, and we'll talk about it with you on the pod.
I'm here with that.
Can't wait to hear what my mom picked.
All right. So moving into our next section, there's not a ton of headlines going on, so we got some more game-heavy things for this pod this week. And we're going in with the classic, the playlist game.
Say that, Jesse, but wait till we get to the soapbox at the end. I have a lot of this.
Oh, dear. All right. We'll carve out some extra time for y'all. Everyone get ready. Get the popcorn ready. Prop the feet up. Ben's got something this week.
I think I have 4.
4? Oh, God.
Yes.
I have 1.
But anyway, Jesse, the first game.
The first one is going to be the weekly playlist game. I finally did update all of the playlists onto the Linktree, and that is available on 2 different platforms now. You can find the links in the Instagram bio for us, and you can also find it right here on Twitch. If you are watching with us on Twitch, you can find it right there. Thank you for sharing that. I just got the notification on Spotify.
Yeah, I always invite you as a collaborator as we're doing the playlist game because I never remember to do it.
I finally got on my Spotify and made a folder for all these because my playlists.
Can you do that?
It was just going. Yeah, you have to.
Let's circle back to this offline.
No, let's do it right here. It's our pod. Who cares? You have to do it on the desktop though.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta do it on the desktop.
Do that. I'll do that after the pod then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I when I go to add a song to a playlist, whether it's for this or something else, my Spotify lags because it's trying to load all these playlists. And I'm like, I don't need to get rid of these playlists. Obviously, I'm not going to because they're in that link, but I don't need them to load every single time.
No, we don't need it there. We appreciate it. Sometimes I do go and dig through because I like the stuff that we've put together, and you've been putting me on some game lately. But yeah, they're there for you. Please feel free to save them, and we appreciate the support. So this week, for the phrase that you gave me is too much sauce for human consumption, which I was excited about. So, I had to go with the cool guy, cool gal music that, you see this person walking down the street and you're like, man, too much sauce. Absolutely too much sauce here. So the first song that I put on this list, I think is probably the sauciest guy in the game, and I had to put The Weeknd on this list. We're going to start off with Starboy. Not only does he have the sauce, he knows he has the sauce, and that's just a whole other level of sauce at this point. And I had to start with Starboy, way too easy. This next one is going to be a song that's been very popular lately because of the Winter Olympics, and I'm going Stateside by Pink Panthers and Zara Larsson.
It's a good one.
Absolute banger of a song. Next one, Kendrick Lamar, the GOAT of hip-hop with N95, one of my favorites of his. And honestly, that one is... He's always been known for changing up things mid-song, but that one does it quite a few times within the song. One of my favorites by him. We're going to go into Bloodline by Ariana Grande. You Should See Me in a Crown by Billie Eilish.
Bloodline is a good one.
I love that song. It's so good.
That's a great
especially with a good pair of headphones on. Yeah, absolutely. And I had to do it to him. 2 songs by The Weeknd on this playlist. We're going with Often, which if I remember correctly, is your wife's favorite Weeknd song.
It is, I believe, my wife's favorite Weeknd song. Often.
Oh, hell yeah.
We love it. I remember it. So, little backstory here. When we went to go see The Weeknd, I looked up the set list beforehand because I wanted to see what was going to be played.
Jesse's different from me. I do not want to know.
I love knowing what I'm going into, and it makes me hyped. But I remember we were driving around Orlando, and I remember Cheyenne saying, she's like, he'll never play the song that I want him to play. And I knew it at that point, and I had to sit there and be like, oh, you never know. You never know.
I also thought it was crazy. I'm like, that was a really popular song.
Right.
There's a pretty decent chance he plays it.
Yeah. I'm very happy he did. Going into the back half of this, we have Greedy by Tate McRae. Feels Like Summer by Childish Gambino, also known as the voice of Yoshi in the most recent Super Mario Galaxy movie. Stay by The Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. Leave the Door Open by Bruno Mars. And Bruno probably also in the top 3 sauciest in the game right now. He's just too cool. Gooey by Glass Animals. And we're ending with the cover of Doing Time by Lana Del Rey.
Damn, you went with the 4 LP. How many songs is that?
12.
That's only 12?
Yeah,
Damn.
I think. Hold on. Do I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I mean,
that's 12.
I'm the last one to throw stones, but okay, all right. I'm impressed. I also actually kept it to 12 this week. Also, nice work putting the Lana song on there. Man after my own heart. My phrase this week is "I can't feel it coming in the air tonight," which I thought was very funny. Oh, hello, Troy. I don't know.
Troy.
Want to say hi?
I see Troy
live.
Snoot.
So I gave this a lot of thought because you could take that phrase a lot of different ways, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it. So then I settled on what I felt like was the only real way to do this, and so my songs are about drugs.
So I'm guessing you have a song by The Weeknd on here as well.
I do, but it's not the one that you think because that felt like
right.
that felt like such low-hanging fruit that it was already in my palm. So I couldn't do it. We're gonna kick it off with New Americana by Halsey.
Yep.
We're gonna then go to Habits Stay High by Tove Lo.
Oh yes.
We're gonna flip it to Heroin, Lana Del Rey.
Yep. Your
Which
weekly Lana.
Peek behind the curtain here. The Lana Del Rey song is usually first on my playlist because I knocked that out first.
Yep.
But I don't like to read it first. There's no suspense.
No.
The next one is 2 a.m. by Bare Hands.
Okay.
Which, if you're unfamiliar with the phrase "nothing good happens after 2 a.m.," it's very true. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. You should be home by that point. Feelin' Whitney, Post Malone, is next. LSD by A$AP Rocky.
Okay.
Just a really slept on song now that we're so far from its release. It was pretty popular when it came out, but I feel like we've just moved on, and it was a really good song. Your Love Is My Drug, of course, by Kesha.
Oh yes.
Had to have my girl on there. Falling Down by Lil Peep and XXX Tentacion, neither of whom is with us anymore. Kind of adds a little bit, I guess, to the vibe. Drugs, You Should Try It by Travis Scott. Not my favorite Travis Scott song, but it would have felt inappropriate to choose a different one for this playlist. This Is What the Drugs Are For by Gracie Abrams. A seamless transition from Travi.
Oh yes. Natural.
Codeine Crazy by Future. Also very difficult to narrow down a Future song.
Correct.
So I went with the one with the drugs in the title. And the only place it can end, High for This by The Weeknd.
Yep. When you told me it wasn't the low-hanging fruit, I was like, I bet he's going high for this.
It's the slightly less low-hanging fruit. It's not quite in my palm, but if I could just close my fist and it would be there.
Yeah, if you
know what I mean?
jumped a little bit, you could probably grab it with your teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's right there for
Man,
me. It's just not
going back to one of the songs on there, being a teacher in Southern Florida when X was murdered was absolutely crazy because that's all. I mean, all the kids could talk about. I mean, we were probably I want to say probably 30 minutes away from where it happened, and it affected them quite a bit. And also within that same time frame when we lost Juice World as well. You know, tough conversations you got to have with your class sometimes.
It's always interesting because you were in middle school, right, when that happened?
I was 5th grade at that point.
You were 5th grade. It's interesting. Something I've noticed that is probably true of us, and I just didn't notice it because it was me. But I have a coworker who has a younger daughter, and some of what and her favorite artist is Glorilla, and she's like 11 or 12, and I'm like, that's kind of early to be listening to that.
That's a little early.
But I think that's just like the child experience.
Yeah.
And maybe I just didn't notice it as much because we were that young, and also I think just the music landscape is different. You know, SoundCloud rappers didn't exist.
Yeah, the accessibility
trap wasn't as popular.
You know, I talk to my coworkers all the time about this, that I don't envy kids growing up right now. I don't, you know, for several reasons. I mean, we can get into the laundry list of things going wrong, but part of that is just the overall exposure to everything, right? Everything is instant gratification, and it's so difficult. I really feel for them, you know, and I always felt like growing up in our era, the like lash out year where kids really struggled the most was like 7th grade. It was usually like right around that age 13.
7th grade was my roughest year.
Yeah, it was my roughest year too, and I feel like it's moved back. I really do. This is a completely on the other end tangent here. But that is the playlist game. Again, you can go back and you can listen to those. Check out the link tree on our profile on both Twitch and Instagram. This next one, Ben, I'm really excited for this one to see where we went with this. So this game is called One Star Glassdoor. And if you're not familiar with Glassdoor, it is a website where employees can review their employers. And it's basically like a Rate My Professor, but for your job. And we have written some from athletes, and we have to try to guess who wrote these. And I'm very, very excited to see kind of how we figured this one out. So Ben, I'll give you the floor. What is your first review?
I'm exceedingly nervous. One of the other things my mom mentioned to me when I talked to her was she thought it was so funny, because it was, when we did the game last week and 2 of our 5 questions were the exact same. This is, again, another situation where we probably shouldn't have that, but I'm exceedingly nervous now that we're going to have that.
I'm sure we both tapped into the hive mind to make it happen.
I am going to go with my first one here. And again, just like you said, I'm always intensely curious to see how we approach these pretty clear parameters every time, but like still a lot of room for interpretation as to how to execute. So I'm always curious. My first one. I've given everything to my office, and they just tried to transfer me to another office. That office sent me back, and now I'm just here and supposed to work. Not sure how focused our leadership is on the right direction.
Max Crosby?
It is Max Crosby.
Yes, excellent.
I think it's insane that he's just
there. He's just back.
Some of these were also vehicles for me to fire off some other takes. I think it's insane that he's just like at the Raiders facility right now.
He's just there.
Like, he's I guess maybe gonna play for them this year. I don't know. I guess we have 2 weeks before the draft for something else to happen. But it seems more and more likely that they're just going to be like, all right, I guess you're just part of the team this year, which doesn't really make sense because they're not going to be good. I don't know. Anyway, that one was next.
None of it makes any sense to me at all. Alrighty. So this one. I was told this city was a beautiful natural city, but I have seen very few horses. The commute to the arena is taking away from my stable time. Plus, they keep making me go to these parades where people throw things at me. I just want to go home. I guess the mountains are okay.
Nikola Jokic.
That is Mr. Jokic.
You had me at as soon as horses. I'm like, that man does not want to hoop. That hoop is a job for him. Like, we made fun of Anthony Rendon earlier in this podcast history for talking about baseball just being a job. But he's, like, bad at it and doesn't want to play it. Jokic is good at it and is like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it my effort. But as soon as it's over, I don't care. Like, I'm clocking out.
I love that press conference where he's like, oh wait, the parade's Friday. He's like, I gotta go home. My horses.
He was so ready to go home and just get up to whatever the hell he gets up to over there. And I love it so much.
There's something
It's
about
really
a
man
7-foot mammoth man that is just an absolute animal on the court, just being like, I need to get back to my steed.
Probably like by the time his career is over, arguably like a top 10 all-time NBA player with absolutely zero footprint outside of the court.
Correct.
It's just truly mind-boggling, especially in 2026. Like, do you know how hard that is to just have zero presence?
Well, we're just not going to
outside of
see
what
him
you're
for
doing on the
years.
court? Like, do we know anything about him other than he likes to, like, farm and be free? Like, I don't think
No,
we
but
know.
I respect it.
I
really
love
do.
it. I love it so much.
All right,
All
what's
right.
your second one?
My second one. Outside of my boss, nobody in leadership ever believed in me, even though they paid me like they did. I always felt punished for missing time while sick, and I'm excited to finally get a fresh start with an organization that supports me.
Ooh. So it's someone that's moved on recently.
Yes.
Can I get a sport?
Think football.
My mind is fried right now.
I've bamboozled you,
You have.
hoodwinked you, possibly even led you astray.
Is this like a?
Think about people that were paid like an absurd amount of money to go away.
Is it Kirk?
It is not Kirk,
Oh.
but you're in the right neighborhood.
Tua?
It is Tua.
Tua. Okay. Thank you for
It is
leading me
Tua.
to the water. I just had to take a sip. I appreciate it. Alrighty.
Much like Nikola Jokic's horse, you just need some TLC sometime. We don't even know the horse's name. Like, I'm sorry, we just know nothing.
We don't. Can you imagine if he
He
comes?
just like comes out of the mountains, hoops for like 90 plus games a season, and then just goes right back.
Can you imagine if he just came? He's like, I need to be more transparent. This is my horse, Snuggles.
Like, what if he came? Like, if he came to a press conference and was like, you know, I've just gotten really into sourdough starters. Like, that would be transcendent. Like, we would have a second hobby to talk about.
And it wouldn't be surprising. It really wouldn't. All right. My next one here. Not only does the environment suck, so do the benefits. They refuse to take care of their star players, provide no asset protection and health insurance. I went to Try Health and the billing department started wheezing laughing at me when I asked if my ACL surgery was covered.
Is it Michael Penix?
It is not
No.
correct sport, though.
It's a football. It's gotta be a Niners player, right?
Mm-mm.
No?
Nope. The ACL surgery was not recent, I will say that.
The ACL surgery was not a recent.
Very prominent player.
Bad healthcare coverage. Tyreek?
Not Tyreek.
Can I get a position?
Quarterback.
Quarterback. And not a recent. Kyler?
Mm-mm. More prominent than Kyler.
More prominent than Kyler Murray.
We're talking top shelf QB.
Top shelf QB. Is it Justin Herbert?
It is not.
No, he didn't tear his ACL, but I'm just thinking of guys that are beaten up. I think you've stumped me, Jesse.
This one is Mr. Joey B. Burrow.
Joey B. Yeah. I think I'm like you. I was like, my brain was too soupy. I needed.
It's
That's
been
a
a
good
week,
one.
man.
Yeah. That's a good one. All right, my third one. We were always shorthanded, and they still never put me in position to succeed. Culture is toxic, and leadership won't support anyone but, quote, their boys. Now that I'm gone, I feel empowered and supported in a way I've never been before. This one is not what I would call a superstar, so I'm going to give you a sport.
Okay.
It is hoop.
Can you read the first part of it again?
We were always shorthanded, and they still never put me in position to succeed. Culture is toxic, and leadership won't support anyone but their boys.
Hmm.
I'm really proud of this one. I don't know if you're gonna get it, and that's not really your fault.
Is it
I just think
Luka?
I cooked. It is not Luka. I was about to say the right sport, but I told you that. Man, he's a wizard.
He's a wizard?
No, I was
Oh.
making a joke about you being a
What?
wizard.
Can I get a conference?
Eastern Conference currently, but this is about a Western Conference team.
A Western Conference team that they're in the East. Now, is it AD?
Aren't you trying to do that?
No, I'm trying to read the comments.
Oh,
Anthony Davis?
sorry. Cheyenne face appeared in the corner.
It's all good.
What's up?
Anthony Davis?
No. He is a wizard.
Right.
This player is not a wizard. This player is a hawk.
Current Hawk. Oh, man. I gotta pull up the Hawks roster now. Hawks roster. Oh, Kuminga.
It is Jonathan Kuminga.
Kuminga. Yep. I forgot he was in Atlanta, honestly.
That's okay. So have most people, but he's actually played pretty well.
He has played well.
He has his presence there, and good play has kind of pushed number 1 overall pick Zachary Rissaker to the DNP coach's decision for the first time in his career. Pretty tough.
That's tough.
But
That's tough.
in year 2 of your career.
Alrighty, my third one here. I worked here for several years, and they expected me to work through a literal structural collapse of my own body. The manager insisted that I keep performing while I was held together by duct tape and hope. I finally decided to leave the building for good, and the customers booed me on the way out. Terrible work-life balance, 1 star. I'm off to read some books to help me forget about this place.
Yeah, this is Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck!
No, all day long. As soon as you said held together by like literal tape, I'm like, yeah, it's Andrew Luck.
That's the boy, Andy. We miss you, Andy. We appreciated you.
That's a good one. That's a great description of what happened to him. All right, my 4th one. I love my team, but it feels like when pressure comes, my teammates are nowhere to be found. I've got to do it all myself or get crushed by outside forces. I just wish some of my colleagues would stand up for me sometimes. That's all. I love them, but I need them to love keeping me on my feet.
Is that
I'm proud
Herbert?
of this one too. It is Justin Herbert, baby.
Yes. I love it.
I went with all the as many sack puns as I could get in
I
there.
love it. Alrighty, my 4th one here. I walked
His
into the
offensive
break.
line plays like they hate his guts.
I walked into the break room to grab water, and apparently I stepped into an unsanctioned boxing ring. Management said we are a family-oriented company, but one of the senior leads decided to give me a hands-on performance review. I was told my attitude was too loud, but his right hook was definitely louder. I asked for a hostile work investigation, and the CEO just handed me a $128 million check and told me to vibe it out. 1 star for the physical safety, 5 stars for the hush money. Edit. They didn't even suspend the guy. Imagine getting punched at your desk and the boss just tells you to play through the pain.
You know, I respect you a lot because that's as good as it could have been done. And I told myself this was the one player that I wasn't going to allow myself to do because it seems unfair. It's obviously Jordan Poole.
It is Jordan Poole.
But that's so good, Jesse. The edit is crazy.
Hold up,
That's
I'm
crazy.
looking at it. Apparently, the Warriors responded to this review.
Oh, not the follow-up.
And it says, "Hi Jordan, we're sorry that the onboarding was a bit rough, but we felt the $128 million inconvenience fee was more than enough to cover your medical bills. We've since updated our HR policy. All high-intensity feedback now requires boxing gloves. Best of luck at the New Orleans branch."
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And your last
That's
one.
good. All right, my last one. Had a recent performance review where they spoke glowingly of my work, highlighting my many awards and honors, but then lowballed the hell out of me for compensation. Not sure there's any longevity or advancement here for me, and not sure how they'll retain talent operating this way. Confusing leadership, to say the least.
Okay. Can I get a sport?
It's baseball.
Baseball. It's not Trout, because Trout's gotten paid. He's been paid fine.
This is another medium platform for me to get off a take. But
Is
I
it
get
Tariq Skubal?
It is Tariq Skubal. Preposterous that you have the best pitcher in baseball, and you're gonna haggle over try to nickel and dime him in arbitration, and then basically imply like that you're just gonna let him walk and then go out in free agency and sign a pitcher to a big deal.
Insane behavior.
The Detroit Tigers are unserious.
They are, and they need to be investigated. Alrighty. My fifth one is, I told the board of directors that if there is a better situation elsewhere, I must take it for my family. Then a week later, I said I want to be here forever. Then yesterday, I saw a beautiful sunset in Miami and felt different. Management keeps asking for a straight answer, but I prefer to speak in riddles like a Greek philosopher and a Nike Tech fleece. 1 star for the stress, 5 stars for the smoothies. I might stay, I might leave, I might buy a soccer team. Who knows? Not me.
So I'm gonna give you some context. I'm pretty sure it's Giannis, right?
It is.
I missed half of that because our cat is sneezing up a storm.
Is it Gypsy?
Like, yeah, Gypsy. Like
Bless you,
30
Gypsy.
sneezes. But then I heard the end, and I was like, yeah, that's Giannis.
Yeah, it's Giannis.
I heard this. You said smoothie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that was Giannis. Go ahead and read it again for me real quick.
Right. I told the board of directors that if there is a better situation elsewhere, I must take it for my family. Then a week later, I said I want to be here forever. Then yesterday, I saw a beautiful sunset in Miami and felt different. Management keeps asking me for a straight answer, but I prefer to speak in riddles like a Greek philosopher and a Nike Tech fleece. 1 star for the stress, 5 stars for the smoothies. I might stay, I might leave. I might go buy a soccer team. Who knows? Not me.
Greek philosopher and a Nike Tech is preposterous to work. But
Bars.
it is a bar for sure. That was fun, and we didn't have any repeats.
I know.
Mostly
That's.
because
I'm
I
very
told
surprised you didn't go with Jordan Poole.
Yeah, again, this podcast theme for me is not the low-hanging fruit. So I tried my very darndest to not just do the most obvious version of me.
Alrighty. And our last game before we get into our rant at the end here. We did a similar concept to this several weeks ago where
I love a circle back.
we did the worst video game build, where we took 5 elements of the worst elements from gaming that we could find to make the worst possible video game. This is the exact opposite. We're doing it where it's the 5 best elements to build the best possible video game. So, Ben, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do all 5 at once, or do you want to flip-flop?
I feel like it makes more sense to the listener for us each to take a turn doing all 5 at once.
Okay, that works for me.
Because otherwise it's going to be like I don't remember how we did it last time. I think we drafted.
Yeah, I think we did.
But I think in this one, I think that one was almost more about just dunking on bad games.
Yes.
And whereas this one, it would probably make more sense and be more cohesive to go one at a time. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go ahead and go first. Why not? So, number 1 element for me that I have to have is the traversals of the Insomniac Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
It is, to me...
I called my bookie. He wouldn't take my action on that bet.
And
He said it. He laughed at me and hung up.
he said, absolutely not. That is a 1-to-1 odd that he's bringing this up.
Yeah, I was like, he'll even do it first. Does that buy me anything? And he said no. And hung up.
Hey, if you went on the call sheet, you probably could buy that, because nothing...
No, not even Kalshi. Kalshi heard about my call through the grapevine, and I got a call from an area code that I assume is a very fiery underworld. And I answered the phone because I'm like, I don't know, I've never seen this combination of numbers before, and eldritch symbols on my phone. And they were just cackling. Not a word was spoken. They were cackling. And I could tell they were trying to, but like through the wheezing, I couldn't tell. So I just hung up.
This was the most obvious thing, I think, possible. Here's the reason why, okay? The story's obviously great. The action's really great. But there is something about just firing up the game. If you just need to not think for a little bit and just swinging through New York City as Spider-Man for a significant amount of time, it is worth its weight in gold just for that alone. Alrighty, my second one is going to be the storytelling of the game Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I wasn't as big of a fan of Uncharted 4's like puzzles and things that they had going with it, but visually it was a really nice game. But the story, where he had his brother coming into the fold, and you got to pick up pieces of their lives going through and trying to figure out how this whole thing was going to end. I thought the storytelling of that game was magnificent, and it's one of my favorites to go back and replay. This next one, I'm going with the music of GTA Vice City. The nice 80s playlist was an absolute banger, especially for its time for a PS2 game. I thought it was pretty special, honestly. The fourth element is going to be the visuals of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and that is the first time I played that game. It was really like, oh, this is next gen. This is what a next gen game is supposed to feel like. It's what it's supposed to look like. It looks like an animated film as you're playing the game, not just in the cutscenes. I think it is just such a gorgeous game, and that's also an Insomniac game. So, 2 shout-outs to Insomniac Games, honestly my favorite developer. They just make good quality products. And then my last one is the pick up and play ability of the big cozy games right now. Specifically Pokemon Pokopia and Animal Crossing New Horizons. I love the fact that if I have 15 minutes or if I have 2 hours, I can just pick it up, get into the game, accomplish something, and be done with it. And it just makes it so much more enjoyable that, you know, there's some games it takes you a second. You gotta sign in, you gotta do all these different things, you gotta remember what your story was, you gotta try to do all these different things. And you kind of have to set aside time to play those. This one, nope, you just pick it right up and it's right there for you.
That's a good sounding game, Jesse. Probably could have guessed that you would also include something about Pokopia or Horizons. I know that those are load bearing for you.
They are.
My 5, which are not in any sort of order, but are just, the 5 that I came up with. The first one, I'm going to go with the importance of choice in Baldur's Gate 3. A lot of games, especially open world games, will give you choices to make and they will affect the story, but they're generally constrained to like one of 2 things will happen. But in Baldur's Gate 3, literally, if I just decide, hey, this important questline NPC, I'm just going to kill him.
Yeah.
The game will change fundamentally. And every choice you make from small to big, literally every choice has meaning and changes the way that the game plays. I've been playing it through with some friends, and both of whom have played several times, one of which has played a lot of this game, and he'll still be like, I've never seen this happen. Like, this outcome has never occurred.
That's
mostly because
incredible.
I make weird choices because I'm driving the ship in that one, and I make just unreliable choices. But it just because I'm like, I don't know what happens if we do this. I love creeping up on a fight and just firing an arrow into somebody immediately. Like, hey, we're just gonna start fighting. Anyway. It's a feeling unlike any other game has ever given me.
That's awesome.
Like every single thing you do matters, but it's not like, because sometimes you're like, oh man, I'm pressured. Like, what if I make the wrong choice?
Right.
And you feel that weight. But there is no wrong choice because there is no right choice in this game. There's no like good path. It's just like, hey man, whatever you do, you got to live with. And so I love that. My second choice here is I kind of generalize this as vibes. And I mean of Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
And
No,
by
I
that
see
I
what you're
kind of
saying,
just mean it's a little bit similar to your final attribute that you took. Just like the comfort level and like the feeling of like you can just like sit down and kind of just like tinker away and you can do whatever you want. And there's no real like oppressive. I mean, you do feel some deadlines because the seasons change, but it's just like the comfort, the art style, the music. You just feel so cozy playing that game, or at least I do. It's why it's one of my
so
favorite
good.
games of all time. The third one, I'm going to go with the world. Some of these are kind of this one, I guess, is the only fusion, but I'm going with the world map of a game like a Red Dead, a Skyrim, or Hogwarts
absolutely.
Legacy. Just where you have that enormous map where it's truly areas are different. Like Hogwarts Legacy is probably the best example of, or Red Dead is also a good one, where the map is enormous and it's not just the same thing over and over again. It's this area of the map is unlike this area of the map is unlike this area of the map. And just having a big sprawling map that doesn't feel unmanageable but does feel different and not just copy paste is really great. I think that's why I ended up leaning towards Hogwarts Legacy over something like Skyrim, because the dungeons are all different, but some of them are kind of the same, and sometimes get repetitive. I just really liked Hogwarts. It's like, this is the castle, and everyone in the castle is different, and this is Hogsmeade, and this is the forest, and all that. It's just I love that in a game. My fourth choice, I'm going to go with kind of the character building and relationship mechanics of Fire Emblem.
Okay.
I think something that has always really, I love the tactic-based gameplay of Fire Emblem, but something that I've also really enjoyed when it's a good Fire Emblem, which they mostly are, but some of them struggle a little bit more than others. But especially like Fire Emblem Awakening, like I felt like all the characters, right, in games like that, when you have like a ton of different playable units, they all have kind of like their dominant personality quirk or whatever, and it's like, oh, this guy is, or this girl is clumsy, this guy's always eating sweets, this person is a nervous wreck, or whatever it is. But the way that Fire Emblem games always have characters interact with each other and kind of expand on it, and you just get that depth of character, I've always really loved.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you get to the end game and you're like, this person's defining characteristic is that they're witchy, but then you end up really caring about them because of the way that they grow as characters and as people during the plot, but also in like the side conversations
Right.
and just development of the units. My final choice here is the quest lines and kind of questing of Fallout.
Oh, great choice.
What I love about particularly Fallout 4, which I know 3 is considered better, but 4 is just what I've played.
I loved 4. I really did.
I've played some 3. But just, you have your kind of pillars, right? You have your main plot, you have these 5 or 6 different like kind of branching side plots, but there's so much diversity in there of like, you can, if you just want to go fight raiders off of settlements, you can go do that. If you want to go build the settlements, you can do that. If you want to go fight the robots, you can do that. If you want to do these recovery missions, you can do that. And just like the sheer variability and just variety of the quest lines, where it feels like I'm not just like doing random stuff, it all has a purpose. Because even some of the quest line where it's like defend the raiders, like that's endless, right? That will just constantly recycle, but you feel the consequences and you feel like you're building progress, even if it's like, guys, I literally just saved your ass like 20 minutes ago and I'm already back here.
Well, and what I love too is when you have that kind of variety of quest lines, you're in different moods sometimes when you're playing games, just like anything else that you're doing, right?
Yes.
And there's sometimes you want to do some defensive, you want to do some combative things, you want to do some searching things. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for, and I think games that allow you to do all those different things are some of the best ones.
Yeah, sometimes I want to go into like an enemy lair and just wipe them all out, right? Sometimes that's a lot right now. Like sometimes I want to like explore the map and find secrets on the map and hunt for this missing package or whatever. Sometimes I want to do courier missions. I want to go back and forth between people, very rarely, but sometimes I do want to do that and just kind of go do those things and help people with their little things to help them with the bigger thing. And but yeah, so those are my five choices.
Excellent. I think we got 2 really rock solid games there.
Yeah, I know. How do my 5 fit together? I didn't spend.
Mine don't
It's
fit
basically
either.
I basically just built cozy Baldur's Gate. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
that's pretty much what I did. But.
That's fair. All right, so this last segment here is what we like to call the soapbox, and this is our open time to just kind of reflect / rant on something that we've just been noticing. And I know you said you have 4, I have 1. So if you want to do this where you do your first 2 and then I'll come in for halftime and I'll be Bad Bunny here and then you can come back for your last 2, we can do it that way.
Okay, yeah. And I want to preface, I do have 4 things I want to share. I don't think there is. I think it's more on the reflect side than the rant side.
Yeah.
I don't have anything steaming my clams currently, but I do have a couple things that I really wanted to talk about. Number 1 is Jesse. What is your preferred airline?
My preferred airline is JetBlue.
JetBlue.
Yes.
That's a weird choice. What's your preferred major airline? Do you have one, or you just are loyal to
I'm
it?
going to be honest with you. I have not flown anything that hasn't been JetBlue in a long time. I've never flown American. I've flown Delta and United only once. If I had to say, just based off of what I've flown the most, it's Southwest.
Okay. You kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit here with the JetBlue. That's weird. Let's talk offline about that. But I also, we've traditionally been a Southwest family. We do Delta sometimes. But I need you to know, man, I just got a bunch of Southwest points. because I booked a flight to Denver, Colorado for October, because I don't know if you've heard, buddy, but Rocktober is coming, baby.
Rocktober.
The Colorado Rockies are the hottest team in baseball. They have won 4 straight games. This is the deepest into the season here on April 9th that Rockies baseball has been consequential. They're at 500 for the first time since Richard Nixon was in office. I love it. I'm gonna rattle off. I'm gonna do the thing because I think the camera is strong enough. Like, look at this. The power of friendship has prevailed. Rocks win. Bottom text. We're so back, baby. I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me. The memes are so good because the baseball is so good. And listen, the Rockies have always been a top tier ballpark experience, right? Reasonably priced beer, immaculate views. You get a good ball game experience, except the team is hot ass. Except for this year, we have the best bullpen in baseball right now. I'm sure that will hold. Just a bunch of homies. Probably none of them would start on the Dodgers. But you know what? Who gives a shit? This team is fun. It's probably going to collapse, but it's important to note their third win last year came in game 28. Their third win this year came in game 7.
There we go.
I always make the joke. I've made it on this podcast plenty of times. Baseball season ends for me on like April 3rd because the Rockies are already eliminated from postseason contention. But Jesse, they're playing a game against the Padres tonight where if they win this game, they have a chance to be above 500 for who knows how long it's been since they've been above 500. And I keep saying this deep into the season, but it's true. Like they come out. We talked earlier. I said the Red Sox are probably not going to be this bad, and teams kind of wax and wane. The Rockies wane just in perpetuity. You can count on it. A slow start. They won a series against the Blue Jays. We've got a sweep under our belts of the Astros. I'm sorry for pardon my language. I'm bricked about the Rockies. Like I don't know what to tell you. Rocktober is coming. Anyway, that's my first little segment here. They don't know how to lose because most of them haven't played professional baseball at this level yet. But they're young, they're hungry. Kyle Freeland is still there. Yeah, it's gonna be a great season.
I tried to come up with some kind of response, and I don't think I can say anything that you have not said, and I'm not even touching what you said there at the end. So
the starting outfielders were a combined 3 of 33 after the first 3 games, and I was like, great, that's not what you want. But you know what? They're winning ball games, and they are literally the hottest team in baseball. Their 4-game win streak is the longest in baseball right now.
Incredible.
They play the Padres tonight in San Diego. We'll see. Anyway, my next one, Jesse, is actually a tweet that I saw that I want to read to you real quick.
Okay.
And then I want to have a brief discussion about it. DeMar DeRozan only needs to average 18 points per game for another 105 games to surpass Shaquille O'Neal in career points and enter the all-time top 10. I find this deeply disturbing, says this guy on Twitter. DeMar DeRozan actually responded to this and said, disturbing? Fuck that mean? Who the hell is you to have an opinion on somebody's career, clown? Here's the point that I want to have. DeMar DeRozan being a top 10 all-time scorer in NBA history is objectively deeply hilarious.
It is.
But DeMar DeRozan, I just wanted to shine some light on DeMar DeRozan, who's just been a certified bucket getter his entire career. Was loyal to Toronto, which is hard to do, or has been hard to do historically for a lot of basketball players. And just a great career, and I have always appreciated his game, and I wanted to give him some flowers for his impending arrival to the NBA's top 10 all-time scorers.
That's absolutely incredible to think about, and it's one of those jarring things too that there's going to be some times, as you look through record books, especially in the NBA with all the stuff and how the game has changed, and you're going to have players in the top 10 for three-pointers made that, are above Reggie Miller just because it was a different game. But something like that is actually really impressive because obviously defense is not quite what it used to be, but I think that's more than anything because of how athletic the guys are now and how advanced the offensive game is now, right? And the thing about DeRozan that's always been really cool is that he can play ISO, he can play in a system, and like you mentioned, he's just been a certified bucket getter from day one, right? You need 20 points, he's going to go get you 20 points. It is the most reliable scoring that you can really ask for out of his position. And he's had an awesome career. And I understand why.
That boy nice.
Yeah, I understand why changes were made. I understand why the moves were made. But I really had wished he had stayed in Toronto. It felt right. It just felt right with him there. Obviously, it worked out for them. They got a title, with Kawhi Leonard after that trade. But there's just something weird about him not being in a Toronto uniform. So yeah, props to him. He has absolutely earned that accolade.
Yeah, and some quick context: he's currently 16th on that list, and 18 points per game for about a season and a quarter is not a lot. He can get there. It's not a guarantee, but he can get there. The only active player ahead of him is Russell Westbrook, which is preposterous that he's 2 spots behind Russell Westbrook, a man who was famous for averaging 30-point double-doubles for his whole career. He's 4 spots ahead of Steph Curry, who definitely could pass him because he's not that many points. He just passed Oscar Robertson by a single point.
That blows my mind.
He's ahead of Dominique Wilkins, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Allen Iverson, Paul Pierce, Tim Duncan, even, who was never a huge scorer, but anyway. But Steph Curry, I don't know, he's kind of brittle. One other thing of note, just as I'm looking at this list, a couple other honorable shout-outs for the all-time NBA league scorers that I think are hilarious. Paul George is 62nd in NBA history in scoring. And, brother, he could climb pretty high. He just needs another 1,000 points, gets him another 15 spots. Wow. So Paul George is going to be a top 30 or 40 scorer in the NBA's history. Brooke Lopez is 82nd.
What?
and of all the players that have ever played, Brooke Lopez is 82nd. That's ahead of Magic Johnson by a considerable distance. That's ahead of Chris Mullin, who had a long career. Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Kevin McHale. He's ahead of all those guys. And Nikola Vucevic is 93rd. He's in the top 100.
That's insane.
Rudy Gay, 94th. Also hilarious.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, CJ McCollum could work his way up there. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns is 124, but it's like I said, that range, there's a lot. It's just the scoring explosion in today's game is going to completely alter. In 10 years, those lists are going to be completely unrecognizable from how they are today.
That's what happens in every NBA 2K sim that I do. If I go 10 years into the future, none of the old names exist.
Yes.
Alrighty.
All right. You want intermission?
Yes, let's do intermission. I'll do mine here. This one is more. It is reflection, partial rant. And it actually has to do with the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Which I haven't seen, so please don't spoil it.
Yes, I won't spoil anything about it. Here's my thing. Okay. I get online before I see the movie. And it's impossible with the accounts that I follow and the things that just come up on my feed. It's impossible to not see discussion around certain things, right? So
yeah, I live the same life.
I have a qualm with a lot of the cinema community in this. And it kind of comes in 2 layers, right? One is expectations, and 2 is the people who consistently are looking for something wrong in a movie, no matter what it is, no matter how it's received. So the first being expectations, right? And people complaining about the Super Mario Galaxy movie not doing this, not doing that, in a way that doesn't make sense to me for an animated movie that is marketed towards children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into Super Mario Galaxy movie expecting Oppenheimer level, storytelling, and you come out disappointed, that's not the Mario Galaxy movie's fault. That's your fault.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And it really frustrates me to a point where it's like, there are some movies that people go to just to have a good time. Right? I'm not going to the Super Mario Galaxy movie to see something that's going to be life-changing. I'm going because I love the characters. I thought the first one was a lot of fun. And the animation's really beautiful, frankly. I think Illumination's come a long way with their animation. But I'm going there for nostalgic feelings and just to have a nice time, right? So, I'll see things on the feed, and the vast majority of the audience scores look great, right? I enjoyed the movie, but again, I'm not sitting there thinking like, wow, my perspective on the world has changed so much because I saw the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I had a nice
the Super
time.
Mario Galaxy movie doesn't have you reflect on the fragility of man in a violent and chaotic universe.
Correct, and that's okay, right? Some movies are just made to be enjoyed for what they are. And then the second part is,
right?
I feel like, and you and I have had this conversation off the pod about how sports journalism has turned into a rage click world, right? And I feel like movie reviewing has turned into that as well, because it's easier now than ever for people to have a platform. Obviously, we have this podcast, right? We are right into that.
Platform is doing some heavy lifting there,
but with that, we're not really having a lot of nuanced takes. It's just people finding things wrong. And I notice this a lot with Marvel movies, especially ones that are well received when they first come out. You and I both enjoyed Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, right? And the same thing, I saw positive things when it came out, and then like 6 months later, people are just trashing it. And I'm like, what are we doing? Right? If you're sitting there picking apart frame by frame things, you're kind of defeating the purpose of watching movies. To me, at least, in my opinion.
Yeah, I read a tweet once that I think is just so accurate. CinemaSins kind of ruined the way that people watch movies.
I agree.
Like, the nitpicking of, like, I think there are some continuity errors and some movie making blunders that do impact the quality of the product. But I think the freeze frame and like an example I'm thinking of, I forget which superhero movie it was, but they had like the same extra like running in like 3 shots.
Yeah.
Who cares, man?
Who cares?
Like,
if you're sitting there watching it for that, you completely, literally have missed the plot at that point.
Yes. And you're allowed to change your opinion on a film over time, obviously, as you sit with it, as you rewatch it. That's happened to me, both positive and negative. But the like hunting for ticky-tack stuff is
and that's where so it really comes down to 2 things for me, right? If you want to see the Super Mario movie because you are a Mario fan, you grew up playing the games, go for it. It's a great time. I enjoyed it. But again, I was not going in there, sitting there thinking that this was going to completely change the way that I view anything, right? I went in because I loved, and not even just like, I loved Super Mario Galaxy when it came out. One of my favorite games of all time. And it was nice, right? And I think we have to take a little bit of a step back on that and really reflect on our movie-going experience. The other thing is, too, I am violently susceptible to sitting in a dark room with snacks in a movie theater in a nice recliner and having a nice time regardless of what's in front of me. I have only ever wanted to walk out of one movie ever, and it was the second Paul Blart movie, because that was an abomination to everything that art is. But, sometimes it's just nice to go and have a nice time. Take your honey, have a nice date time, and just go see a flick.
I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie, because even when it's garbage, I'm like, I have to know how it ends.
I paid for this.
But I will tell you, the closest I've ever gotten was Fanforstic.
Yeah.
That movie was so bad that sometimes you have like out of body experiences watching a movie where you're like, is this real?
Is this
like, how did this
happening?
movie get made? Quantum Mania was kind of like that also, where I was like, who approved this?
Yeah.
Who watched this and was like, yeah, that's good. Slap it in theaters nationwide. But yeah, no, I think to a point you made earlier that we were kind of like joking about, but I think is important. The beauty of film and of art in general is that some of it can be intended to make you think critically
Right.
about big existential things. Some of it also can just be for enjoyment, and that's okay. You know, like I said, popcorn movie. That's not derogatory.
Yeah.
That's just like some movies, you know, are just more meant like, hey, this is fun. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. I went and saw with a friend one of the later Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I couldn't tell you the name of it. All I remember was that the final fight was like the ocean like parted and there
Yeah.
was this like seafloor circle. I don't know. I hadn't seen the couple Pirates of the Caribbean movies before it. Did it have some sort of deeper comment on the human condition? It probably tried and missed. I don't remember it. I remember it was fun as hell.
Yeah.
Watching the action, and like I had a good time, and I was like, this is so much fun because I have no expectations for this movie. I'm just like chomping on some popcorn and enjoying it. I think it's fair to have some of those criticisms about movies that are overtly about, you know, having a message
Yes.
and or movies that send a bad message
Yes.
even. But I think definitely think, you know, like just like you said, like there's some different phrases people use. Cape shit is one for like superhero stuff, or like you'll hear like superhero slop or whatever, or Marvel slop, and you know those like some of the movies do try to have a message and fail, but sometimes it's just about like enjoying them and having fun and being like, you know what, it's okay if there's not a bigger message or like a deeper meaning behind this. I'm just watching action figures fight, and you know that's okay.
Yeah,
It's
and
fine.
music does the exact same thing, right? Because there are times where you know, like I'm feeling like I want to listen to some of Kendrick's deeper stuff, right? Where he's talking about systemic racism and talking about those deeper topics. I'm like, yes, I'm feeling this. Like I feel like I'm learning a lot, you know, through his artwork. And there's times where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna throw on Stateside, which is, you know, completely for the most part mindless. And I just want to jam, right? I just want to feel, you know, a little exuberance with this, you know. And I think how we consume media in that way, it's really important to have that balance. It really is. Is Oppenheimer an incredible film? Yes. Is Sinners an incredible film? Right? They're absolutely phenomenal films. But sometimes you're just not in the mood for that deep level of...
Right. Sometimes you want to turn your brain off a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that's absolutely
I'm having a Sinner's birthday party, by the way. You're the first, I'm making my global announcement here.
Yes.
My birthday is in December, folks, so don't get too excited. But
okay. I'll see what I can do.
we're gonna do it big. All right, I got two more, Jesse. One of them I think is kind of fun. I also two of them this week were tweets that I saw. I'm gonna pull up this screenshot. This was actually a Reddit post, and it attempts to solve tanking in the NBA, and it's actually hilarious. It's just such a funny premise that we have to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna read you this Reddit post from Kelowna Fornia 6969. How to solve NBA tanking. Attention, Adam Silver. I just solved tanking. Never mind lottery odds. What if the NBA just tied beer prices to dynamic pricing in wins and losses? NBA mandates all beers at $10 for all teams at the start of the year. Teams can increase prices by 35 cents per win and must decrease them by 20 cents per loss. Looking at the current standings, and then goes through all of the teams in the NBA. I'm just going to read you like the top 5 records and the bottom 5 records. The Thunder, who are 62-16, beer would be $22.70 a pop. The Spurs, $21.55. The Pistons, $18.70. The Celtics, $16.55. The New York Knicks, $15.95. The bottom 5 teams, the Brooklyn Nets, who have 19 wins, 75 cents a beer. The Utah Jazz, $1.95. Oh wait, he put them out of order. $1.95 for the Jazz and the Kings. 75 cents for the Nets. The Pacers would be charging a cool 50 cents per beer, and the Wizards actually would owe you 10 cents every time that you got a beer. Imagine this. Every time your NBA team wins, beer prices go up. Every time they lose, prices go down. Would you prefer your team hover around mid-tier pricing for a balanced experience, which, for example, the Sixers, who are 43-36, $11.70 a beer, pretty not standard for like a sports event. Or love cheap beers even if your team is tanking, or hate paying $15 beer plus beers when your team is dominating.
No flaws.
I definitely don't think that solves tanking in the slightest. I think that puts the fear of God into security and liability people in Brooklyn and Washington, and I guess this year in Indiana. But I think it's hilarious.
Can you
And I just
imagine
wanted to-
75-cent beers in Brooklyn?
I'm just imagining going to like the concession stand at another sold out Wizards game and being like, yeah, the limit is 2 beers. There's me and my buddy, we each want 2 beers each, and they just hand you 4 dimes and four Miller Lights.
They would be
I just think that'd be
bleeding
so
money.
funny. It's like, let me get the nachos and 2 beers, and they're like, okay, well the nachos are $8, but then we owe you 20 cents, so $7.80 is your total. Like I just thought that
That
was
is
so
preposterous, but I also love that they did the math on that so much.
Yeah, the dynamic beer pricing is hilarious to me. Anyway, so my final thing here, and you know, the point of the soapbox is to rant and to reflect, and just fire some stuff off. We have a lot of fun on this podcast,
Yes.
but it's really important to me that we are honest men of integrity. We take accountability when things go wrong or when we feel like we need to be called out. And, I felt called out this week, and so I wanted to address that here on this podcast. Jordan Poole has taken a lot of heat on this program, including in this episode, which I thought was funny because I had him earmarked for a different segment. On Tuesday, in a regular season contest against the Utah Jazz, Jordan Poole scored 34 points in 32 minutes. It was his first game in 4 games that he made an appearance, and only the 5th in his last 19. He scored 22 points in the third quarter, which is how I came to know about this. And that's not bad.
No, that's
They
a that boy
won
nice
the
kind
game
of night.
100. They won the game 156 to 137. They set franchise records for points in a quarter, which was 50, and a franchise record for points in the game, even though, as I mentioned in an earlier segment, the Pelicans were playing without all 5 usual starters. The young guys showed up. Ironically, Jordan Poole in this game I'm highlighting for wasn't even the leading scorer. Jeremiah Fears had 40 franchise record.
That boy's nice. I am a big fan of his game.
And I've made fun of Jordan Poole a lot, and I wanted to apologize. I am familiar with your game, and you're still trash, but you had a nice night, and I think that's worth celebrating.
Hey, you're a better man than I am
Don't believe
because,
it. Surprise you.
I'm definitely going to do it again. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, I'm going to make fun of him again. I'm probably going to leave the next podcast, but you'll never believe what this guy did. I read, ironically, when I was trying to look up some of those numbers and confirm them, I read like one of those, and I'm sorry, Jesse, I know we both worked for them at some time, but like one of those fan-sided articles by somebody who just clearly does not know ball. And he was talking about like Jordan Poole maybe improved his trade value this summer. And I'm like, Jordan Poole has no trade value. I could be traded for Jordan Poole straight up. And I think that the Pelicans would take that. And so in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not going to change anything. But I just wanted to give him a little bit of snaps for his quality basketball.
I can meet you there. I can work with that.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
He still has a punchable face, but
clearly.
he had a good game.
Clearly. Alrighty, well that is going to do it for this episode of the Spillin It Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in that came in live and participated in the chats. This will also be going up on all the other platforms, so we also appreciate those of you that watch on the tape delay, and we will see you guys next week. Ben,
It's crazy.
Ben, you got anything else before we go?
No, we talked about the Masters briefly. I was just going to highlight that it's one of the most magical times of the year where the NCAA tournament dovetails perfectly into the Masters. The 500 is coming up. Spring is sprung, baby. And the Rocks
Rocktober.
are on top. Rocktober, baby.
October is going to be upon us before you know it.
We're so back. Dinger is going to be a menace.
Absolute menace. I mean, he already is a menace, but full-on menace to society at that point.
I mean, I'm just look, man. They're doing stuff. The Rockies are good. That's all.
That is all we have. We will catch you guys next week. Probably same time, hopefully, depending on schedules. But
Maybe. We're going to talk offline about that.
Yep, we'll figure that out. We'll put it up on all the socials. But we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.